Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're back with another painting video. We're taking a look at a game called Neon. I gave a short preview of the game, an unboxing, a couple of months ago. And now we're taking a look at one of the characters called Phoenix, as listed up here on the card art. He has some kind of jetpack and I've already pre-painted him. He's looking like this. It's quite a beautiful model. Neon was published by a game called Hobby World. And it's a game by Igor Skluyev and Ekaterina Gorn. And I met them in Essen Spiel in 2024 and they gave me this game, so thank you very much to Hobby World for this. And I also wanted to show you that how I pre-painted them. There won't be a video for how to pre-paint this one, but I mostly use contrast paints as well as some fluorescent paints for the effects. And I'm trying to mimic the card art as possible, as close as possible for this. But that's not the purpose of this video, because the purpose of this video is actually to paint the jetpack, and mostly likely the not most likely, but to see the smoke and the flame effects here. I've done videos on flame effects before, but I have not done how to paint smoke, and this is the purpose of this video. So I'm going to take a great inspiration from the card art, meaning the flames are up closer to the jetpack over here on the back, as well as lots of smoke coming out. I'm going to try not to hit the beautiful model that I've already pre-painted, using mostly contrast paints such as Leviathan Purple and Skyish Purple, as well as some regular paints such as German Dark Grey for the boots and Lead Belcher for all the metal effects. So let's get started. So I'm going to put this one down here. I'm going to rotate the camera so we can actually have a better view. And I'm going to leave this one out here just for me to see it and see how I can do it. So the first part is that I'm going to paint the smoke effects with some, no, not this one, with some Celestra Grey from Citadel. And Celestra Grey, I've also diluted it quite a bit with a bit of water, so it's quite a liquid color. I'm going to dilute it a little bit more to make sure that it gives a nice paint to dry. And I'm going to cover pretty much the entire area here with this color. I can also say that just to give that nice smoke effect, I have primed the miniature as always using Vallejo white and Vallejo white primer. I'll show you this one over here, looking like this surface primer, Vallejo white, really beautiful, good paint. It's a big bottle as well. I used the brushed on primer, and then I've also primed it again using some German grey from Vallejo to give that nice dark effect. So I'm applying it liberally across the entire area here, taking care not to actually cover the white parts up here that I've also left in from the primer. And I'm using a fairly large brush for this one. This one is a size 6 even, which is quite unusual. I don't usually use large brushes like this because I prefer the details, but now since it's a very large area to actually cover, a larger brush is actually needed. So covering this one, don't be too scared if you hit the base of this one, taking care not to, of course, hit the miniature. And while this one is hopefully drying on time, I will start painting the flame effects. As such. So a little bit about the game Neon. It's a cool battle royale game in which you start as one of the heroes. This is one of the heroes, Phoenix, and you go around on a kind of like an arena. You pick up crates with weaponry and you try to kill off your opponents. There was a very old game called Frag by Steve Jackson Games that kind of like tried to do that. Otherwise, we don't really see many battle royale games. And it's a little bit shame because I like those games. They kind of like, simulate a kind of like a computer game or something similar in a board game format. And it's a nice and bold take on that genre. So if you like this kind of game, be sure to check out the link for Hobby World, or check out your local friendly game store and see if they can pick it up for you, or order it and pick it up. I'm not sure on the availability of the game, but you should be able to pick it up either on one of your main retailers, so to say. So as such, now we've covered it and looks quite okay already, just like in this Celestra Grey, which is like this kind of like not dark grey, like kind of a mix between a light grey and like a medium grey. And of course I'm taking the opportunity just to paint the base with this one as well. You can paint the base in whatever color you want actually afterwards, like if you want to use a texture color or something similar. So I'm going to leave this one now aside. I'm going to put this one down, and then I'm going to clean my brush, of course, always, and wipe it off on this piece of paper. So while this one dries, hopefully it will dry on time. So for our next step, now we're going to take a look at the flame effects. So the flame effects are fairly easy to paint. Flames are usually the hottest at its actual source. So we're going to leave this one white all the close to the jetpack's exhaust over here. But what we will do is actually start painting the next stage, and that means we're going to go into yellow. For this one, I'm using a sun yellow from Vallejo for this color. I'm going to put this one out here on my, not on my dry palette. Oh, drop some paint there. So this one, some sun yellow here, and I'm switching, of course, to a smaller brush for this case, a smaller detail brush, a size 0 for this one. Winsor & Newton Cotman series, one of my favorite brush series, so to say, and we can already start applying this one quite liberally on this one and dabbing it across as such here, just to give it a nice even coverage. I'm using it neat, and you just want a little bit of sliver of white up here on the top, not much. And just don't forget to paint the other side as well. Angling the miniature as you see fit, as you see over here. I also have to say Hobby World was really nice to me. They came up to me in the meet and greet in Essen Spiel last year, and they just started chatting and said like, well, you're a miniature painter. We would love to give you our game if you can just like take a look at a few of the miniatures, maybe paint them and show people what it's like. And I said like, yeah, absolutely. So first of all, I'm a bit sorry that it took a little bit longer than expected to paint these ones. But here I am, and I'm happy to actually find the time to paint these ones, and hopefully you will enjoy painting these ones as well as playing the game. So after you applied some yellow on this color, then we're going to go to the next stage, and we're going to go for some orange. And I'm using I'm using a color from Vallejo called Orange Fire. This is a really nice, cool effect. I really like this color because it mixes in some of the effect of the red as well as the pure orange as it is. You can also potentially use something called orange red if you have that as well. If you go for a Citadel color, you can go for something called Jokerera orange, or possibly what's the other orange color? Fire Dragon Bright. That will also be acceptable. So with this one here, now we go into the next step, and we go to the other parts here, close to the flames, making sure we don't touch the flames, of course. Okay, we're going to turn around the miniature. As such. Going around like one more time, making sure we don't miss any details. There's a detail here that I missed. Here, of course, the front side. And should you touch his gun, blaster, where you want to call it, you can easily go past it and fix it. Here I used a base color of German grey, as well as some lead belcher and some bright silver afterwards for the gun or the blaster here. The other colors I've used here is of course some Kislev flesh, as well as some lead belcher with null oil on top of it. And of course the boots here are of course just some pure German grey from Vallejo. So when you've done these ones, and you're making sure you're quite happy with it, that means you go into the next part, and that is some red. And red, I'm using a basic one called Mephiston red. It's a base color from Citadel, and a color that I really like. I tend to like red colors more from Citadel than I do from Vallejo. And I'm not really sure why that's the case. Vallejo's done some really cool red colors, but I tend to stick with these ones from Citadel. I think they give a little bit more better before putting off a little bit on my nail here. And then I'm covering the end of the orange here, just a little bit here towards the side, and the here as well. Just dabbing it a little bit around. And then we go for our next stage. We are going to take a damp brush, such as this one, and then we are going to what we call is wet blending, taking the damp brush and simply moving the colors within each other so they have a nice transition. Leaving some of the yellow on top, some of the orange in the middle, and some of the red in the bottom. And you can do this as you see fit. If you feel that you've got too much yellow on some of the miniatures, you can go back to add some orange here. Until you feel that you've got a result that you've finished, that you're quite happy with. So here I went back for some of the orange, as well as some of the yellow here on top, as keeping some of the white up here just close to the jetpack. And here I'm taking a damp brush, a damp clean brush, and moving around the red, making sure it doesn't really stand out that much. And keeping the brush quite damp is quite important for these steps. And here I feel like I've got a little bit too much yellow and too little yellow right next to the top here as well. It's looking quite okay already, and you can see here that it's not perfect, but it will look quite okay on the tabletop. Once this is entirely dry, I'm going to try and attempt it now as well on a small part that is more dry than the rest, is that you're going to apply a color called Apothecary white from Citadel. It's a contrast paint. I always have a problem saying this one, so I'm really having an issue with some Citadel paints that are like, why do you have to insist on calling them some really weird names? Probably got something to do with 40k or Warhammer that I simply haven't gotten yet. So if you know exactly why some of these paints are called the way they do, please let me know in the comments. So I'm going to simply apply this one here over the area, giving it a nice little bit of a contrast. And it kind of like dulls any spots that I might have missed as well. All right, looking quite okay. Closing, of course, cleaning our brush, closing the paint pot here so it doesn't go all over. And there you go. I put some paints there in the middle here of my work area, so I have to clean this one up before it gets even messier. Here you go. Oops. Here you go. This one aside. Now, you're probably wondering what to do next. So when this one is fully dry, you can go back to colouring individual parts with some Celestra grey. But I will also take the opportunity here to actually go over and use one of my areas that I haven't used before. It's called Smokey ink. So give it a good shake. It's from Vallejo, and it's a nice dark colour. It's kind of like giving it a nice detailed smoke. And I'm going to use a small brush, a size 0 brush for this one. And in this case, I want to go over some of the areas here, giving it a little bit of an area here next to it. Yeah, I got hit it by mistake. Like the very end here. That gives it a nice kind of like transition between the smoke and the black parts. And you can use this one in streaks along the edges here as well to darken the areas. Ideally when it's dry, but you can also use it now when it's like a little bit fluid. And then you can take the larger brush and blend it together, giving it kind of like a dirtier look than normal. Smokes is normally a little bit dirtier than normal, so it's just not pure. Dabbing it around here, and then of course moving it around, creating some brown smoke here in between, and as such. Because if you look at the card art, it kind of looks like brownish as well. Now, this part here too. Now the rest part here will be to add some white. So this one is going to be some Vallejo white over here to give some small parts that's going to be a little bit whiter. And you can just put some small part here and dab it around as you see fit. And as such, if you feel that it's too dark over here, you can just take some regular Celestra grey, color it over it, like I do here. Got it a little bit too dark. And then leaving it here back on the side here, on the back side, where it's like more dirtier smoke directly from the jetpack. And this is, don't forget to add some white dots once it's fully dry, and you are quite okay to go. If you want to, you can also add some null oil and darken some of the flames here as well. But it's a basic way of painting smoke. I'm not terribly good at it, and I hope you will enjoy this video as well. If you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel, liking and commenting. That really helps as well for visibility for YouTube. And I will hope to see you next time in the next video, whether it's going to be more Neon, some more Romans, or just another board game review. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.